Joe Rogan says that much of the culture war is silly. Joe Rogan's a good friend. He's a good dude. He's helped me out on many occasions. But for this, I disagree, good sir. And the reason is culture is everything. Laws are only enforced by what a culture is willing to accept. As I mention often, we have many laws on the books that we don't enforce. In Florida, women aren't allowed to go skydiving on Sunday. I'm pretty sure there are many women skydiving on Sunday in Florida. But for some reason, they have that law. As our culture continues to erode, you end up with psychotic law enforcement scenarios. In the UK, we have this story. Human Events has the lead. Autistic UK teen girl brutally arrested in her own home after saying, "I think she's a lesbian," about a police officer. Here you can see the officer who was so offended at the idea that someone might think she was a lesbian that this young teenage girl was arrested. Now, what the police here in the UK said, this is the West Yorkshire police, is that it was a homophobia incident. Now, hold on there a minute. I'm going to play some of this video for you and break down the story. The gist of the story is that in the UK, there were two girls. They were inebriated, or I believe one of the girls was inebriated. The older sister says, "I can't get a hold of my mom." This young girl is autistic. I'm not sure if she was inebriated, actually. Autistic 16-year-old needs an escort home. The police come and they give the daughters an escort home. Apparently, as the kids are walking into the house, the 16-year-old refers to this woman as, "I think she's a lesbian." The cop is enraged, storms into the house with the other officers and says, "You're now under arrest for a homophobia public disorder or offense," or something like that. Now, here's the problem. If you were to say if the police believe that lesbians are cool, you're gay, you're trans, you're whatever, you're cool, why would calling someone a lesbian be considered homophobia? Honest question. In fact, I believe the homophobic individual is the officer herself. Because if someone said you look like a lesbian and you had no problem with lesbians, you'd be like, okay, it's a compliment, I guess. I don't know. What are you supposed to get by that? But what if you hate lesbians? Now you're angry. Now, how dare you? So maybe the real offense was the police officer. But more to the point, the reason why I mention the culture war being so important is look what happens in the UK when their culture runs afoul. When people don't push back against, say, Bud Light. Now, Bud Light, what does that do? Now, look, Bud Light hires Dylan Mulvaney, greatly offends people, and we say no. That cultural line has been drawn. You had adults in Texas bringing children to a sex performance, and the police said, "We will do nothing about it." But now we say no. The culture should be understood. We do not tolerate things like this. Here's the story. A 16-year-old autistic girl was arrested by the West Yorkshire police after a female officer accused the teen of homophobia. The crime the teen allegedly committed was saying, "I think she's a lesbian," about the female officer. Now, they say that there's body camera footage, full body camera footage, and what we have is cell phone footage for now. I'm interested to see the context of which this 16-year-old girl referred to this officer. The question is, according to the mother, the teenage girl said something like, where is it at? "I think she's a lesbian like Nana," or something to that effect. Let me read. The eldest sibling contacted the police after her younger sister began to act in unsafe ways, unable to reach her mother. She explained that her younger sister was autistic and needed a safe escort home. So, okay, I don't think they were inebriated. I don't know where I saw that, but we'll read more. They said they would come assist in getting her home as she was vulnerable. That's what it was, not inebriated. She was vulnerable, being autistic. When they arrived where my two daughters were, Amanda refused to travel alone with them and wanted her sister to come with her, so she agreed. Snow claims she was woken up at 1 a.m. to the sound of knocking at the door. It was the police. They said they were just bringing her home safely, but one of the officers had hold of Amanda and was squeezing her arm very tightly. She asked me to get the officer off her arm as it was hurting, so I guided my daughters inside. As Amanda was being brought into the house, she made a remark about the female officer that kicked off the scuffle. She said, "I think she's a lesbian like Nana Julie." Snow noted the officer had short blonde hair. "I just felt a jolt on my back. The officer had launched herself in my home at me and Amanda and she was grabbing at her." Snow claims that Amanda rushed to a cupboard under the stairs and began crying. Not knowing what was happening, she started self-harming out of stress. She was crying, saying sorry to the policewoman. That's when I grabbed my phone and started recording. Video footage shows multiple officers surrounding the cupboard as Amanda backed herself in for safety. The female officer said she's getting arrested. Another unit's coming. Don't worry. I'm telling you, another unit is coming. She is going to get arrested tonight. Snow pleaded with the officers, trying to explain that her daughter had autism. They don't care. The video exploded online, with the West Yorkshire police ultimately publishing a statement on the incident saying that Amanda had been arrested on suspicion of a homophobic public order offense. The nature of the comments made was fully captured on body-worn video. One ex-user said, UK, this may be one of the most uncomfortable videos I've had to watch. This is what hate speech legislation that prioritizes certain groups over others looks like in action. Poor child. I'm going to say it again. Why it's so important we push back on things like Bud Light. Because we want to make clear we will not tolerate hate speech legislation and this kind of culture. Now, it's not one for one, they're not identical. That's not, but there is an overlap here. The Dylan Mulvaney scenario with Bud Light shows that we are not going to tolerate this kind of alcoholic marketing to children, algorithmic manipulation, and gender ideology. We say no. So when the police try to arrest someone for bigotry or whatever, no, they're going to understand that we don't tolerate this. We don't tolerate this kind of culture. We say no to it. This is really, really interesting. British political commentator Carl Benjamin posted, the West Yorkshire police consider themselves victims of the public. Yes. In this news article, it says police officers are victims in almost half of all hate crime prosecutions. For most forces, the proportion of police victims has increased over the last 3 years. A Freedom of Information investigation revealed. Carl says, thank you for keeping us safe from the word lesbian, Mr. Khan, referring to Sadiq Khan. Quite literally, the police are using hate crime legislation to arrest those who would dare speak up against them. And here's the picture of the woman. This deranged, psychotic individual should be in jail. Dude, I'm not here to back the blue, baby. Not happening. Okay, I back the blue when the blue deserves to be backed. There's another video going around. I think Clown World on Twitter posted it. A guy I think it was in California, had his home broken into. A deranged homeless man was rifling through his stuff, and the cops come, carefully escorting this man out. I back those blue. The cops who are protecting an innocent guy from an unhinged man. Did they hurt the unhinged man? No. They're very calmly and carefully restraining him and carrying him out. That's the way it's done. These cops, you don't back the blue. And this is the thing that many of these far leftists don't quite understand. And to be fair, a lot of conservatives don't understand. Sometimes the cops are crackpot a-holes who should be locked up like this. Sometimes there are good cops who protect the innocent. They should be commended. So it's not so simple. But I tell you what I see here in the bigger context with this story, the fall of the UK. Carl Benjamin, a.k.a. Sargon of Akkad, good friend. How's it going, buddy? He can't actually comment on this because he could get arrested for posting on social media. But I got to tell you, what's wrong with calling someone a lesbian? Why did this cop get so angry that she needed 6 other officers to arrest a teenage girl? Remarkable, isn't it? Because they're petty, pathetic, terrified losers, insecure, whiny little babies. That's you, officer. That's you. Oh, no. Is this a public order defense? You pathetic, whiny piece of human garbage. What are you going to do about it? In America, we have something called free speech. And I'm going to call you ugly. Yeah, you're ugly. Yeah. I got to be honest. I can't insult this person like saying I think she's a lesbian. I don't consider an insult because I have friends who are lesbians. I see nothing wrong with that. So I don't understand why she's offended by it. The only thing I can do is call her ugly to try and offend her, but I guess that's not even an offense. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? It's the weirdest thing. She's so petty and such a crybaby. These other cops, too, I think they should all be in jail. These other cops, what pathetic losers. UK, you guys got to get your house in order, man. Something is deeply wrong. You know what? I'm going to say this. I love how the left rags on white people all the time. And then you get these conservatives being like, stop ragging on white people. And I'm just like, dude, let me just say this. There is no unified body. Like, you can't judge an entire race based on one person's actions. I just find it absolutely hilarious that the complaint, like, it's white leftists complaining about white people. This stuff doesn't happen in other. Go to Japan. You don't get this stuff. Don't get me wrong. In China, people get arrested for wrongthink for sure, but not like this. It's typically in these countries like the UK where you have these policies that are racist, sexist, homophobic, and all that. Like, I'm gonna tell you straight up, the cop is homophobic. The cop is arresting a girl because she's offended that the girl thought she was a lesbian, because she hates lesbians. This cop hates lesbians so much she had to arrest an autistic child because she was insulted by it. Good job, UK. Great work there. Good luck, everybody in the UK. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.